All right, we got slides. How's everyone doing? We've got that dreaded 3:45 slot, which is end of the afternoon. It's getting a little warm in here. I hope you guys were all able on the break to go out and find some caffeinated beverages. God knows I'm caffeinated. My name's John Loken. I oversee marketing and sales for Ticketmaster. What that basically means is I manage a number of different teams. We've got a team dedicated to inbound marketing, a team dedicated to engagement marketing, a team dedicated to B2B marketing. Ticketmaster, the company that I work for, is both a B2B and a B2C. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the unique challenges that we're confronted with every day. On the business development side, I work with large-scale publishers like Google and Facebook and Clear Channel and Amazon, with the thesis being that, like I said in the video, people sort of know in the abstract about the content that we're selling and sort of where to find it, but you'd be surprised at how difficult it is to make discovering tickets and purchasing tickets really easy. But that's our mission. When we talk to a Google and they ask for all kinds of interesting ways that we could integrate data into their discovery platform, Ticketmaster might think to itself, well, we're supposed to be a niche vertical, right? We're the leaders in live event search. I think that Google's pretty good at live event search. I think it's really about giving the Googles and the Bings of the world structured data so that finding our inventory is easier and faster. And that's really what you guys do, right? It's about giving these platforms that exist tools that make the engagement that much easier. I'll tell you a little bit about the company and sort of what's unique about it. I'm also going to dispel a couple myths about Ticketmaster. So Ticketmaster is a business unit within Live Nation Entertainment. The slide said it's about a $6 billion a year company. Ticketmaster does about $1.5 billion. About half of that is North American, and the other half is international. About 3,000 employees at Ticketmaster. On the B2B side, we do technology and software. That's what we do. We're a technology and software company, and we ticket all the major leagues, NFL, NHL, NBA, about half of Major League Baseball. We ticket Live Nation Concerts, which is the world's largest concert promoter. That's our sister company within Live Nation Entertainment. And all the big arts organizations. So here in town, we do the Nederlander theaters, the Disney theaters, a lot of family entertainment like Feld. Feld's the biggest promoter of family entertainment in the world. So Ringling Brothers and Ice Capades and Monster Truck. We sell about 80 million tickets a year through the platform. And we do another couple hundred million through box office and season ticket sales. Again, that's technology and software we provide, but our team doesn't actively market those things. So let's see, that represents the 80 million tickets, like I said, about $1.5 billion in revenue. Half of that we give back to our clients. That's a little secret that nobody knows. You know those irritating service fees that you see? We share those. It's like a royalty. So the three things that really upset people, consumers, about Ticketmaster. One is, I can't get in at the on sale. How come at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, I cannot buy that ticket? I keep hitting refresh and refresh and refresh and it doesn't work. The reason for that is we don't really get pricing right at the on sale. So we put a bunch of inefficiently priced inventory on the market, and a whole bunch of bots come in and buy up our inventory. 99% of the traffic to our servers at 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning is non-human traffic. Now, if you guys are in the e-commerce business, you think, oh, it's great, inventory risk. You're sopping up all my inventory risk. If only that were true. What happens is we have a hold system. You put a ticket into a 10-minute hold while you purchase. These bots put the inventory into a hold, and they simultaneously arbitrage on secondary sites and try to sell. It's spec selling what they've got on a hold in our system. So it's not like you got the Gap, you open the door, a bunch of people run in, they buy t-shirts, and they walk out. It's a bunch of people run in, they put the t-shirts at the counter, and they say, I'll be right back. So you're sitting there with massive, massive tranches of inventory in this stasis, right? We've got a whole team of data scientists who look at pattern recognition and are trying to solve that problem. But that problem is a $4.5 billion a year problem. So you've got the smartest people on the planet trying to outsmart our smartest guys on the planet. One of the other things that people tend to get a little bit miffed about is pricing. Just why is this ticket so expensive? I don't get it. You know, the reality is we sell a scarce good. About 30% of our inventory goes unsold, but the 70% that does sell through, it's scarce, it's rare. There's only one Yankees, no matter how many games they play. There's only one Yankees experience. There's one Lady Gaga, right? So Lady Gaga comes into New York and she's going to play Madison Square Garden. There's, I don't know what the capacity is, maybe 18,000. But there's demand. 400,000 people in the market want to get in those 18,000 seats. So it's just a very simple sort of supply and demand equation where, fortunately or unfortunately, the price of those 18,000 seats is going to go up to reflect the real demand in the market. It's another thing we're working on, though, where we say, look, why should only the richest people get to go see Lady Gaga? Are there other ways that we can look at fans and understand how they're engaged with Lady Gaga, either through some kind of social advocacy metric or some sort of loyalty to our platform or to live events in general? How do we rank those people and give them a different place in line based on their passion about the artist? The last thing I mentioned was the fees. We're one of those silly businesses that actually discloses our cost of business line item by line item. When you guys go into Trader Joe's and you buy a gallon of milk, it costs $2.99. You pull it out of the refrigerator, you don't think twice about it. It doesn't say 49 cents went to the cow, 20 cents went to the farmer, 39 cents to the guy who drove the milk carton to the store, and 20 cents to the stockist. It doesn't say any of that. It's $2.99. That's where we need to get with pricing. There's a bunch of reasons structurally in our business why we don't do that, and that's what I said. There's a unique tension in our world between B2B and B2C. I'll tell you about another tension that exists. So Live Nation Entertainment is two companies bolted together. Live Nation Concerts, world's largest concert promotion business, Ticketmaster. The concert business is some of the savviest, sharpest people you've ever met, but they're not technologists, right? These are guys who've been promoting U2 tours and Rolling Stones tours for 30, 40 years. So there's a corporate culture which is a little bit kind of embedded in that 70s way of doing things, about deal cutting. Our technology and code stack is mostly from the 80s and 90s. We actually still operate our big on sales with a VAX system. We're in the middle of spending $100 million to re-platform our technology, but the reality today is we've got a whole bunch of green screens chained to one another across the country. So anytime you want to do something really great, like optimize a page, you have to go back into the code and fix it. And we'll talk about how Pati, who is, by the way, the secret weapon of Ticketmaster, she's going to walk you through some of how she does that. So last thing I'll tell you, the last challenge that's, I don't think unique to us, but it makes life fun every day. Our inventory is perishable. So as soon as the game plays, as soon as the show plays, I can't sell tickets anymore. And not only is the inventory perishable, but I've got extremely dynamic supply, meaning at any one time, the promoter could have a bunch of tickets on hold, and I don't know whether there are tickets to sell or not. Meaning this problem I told you about where the bots have put something into a hold while they try to resell it. So supply is dynamic, as is demand. If a team suddenly gets on a streak, all of a sudden tickets become more valuable, more expensive. If they hit a slump, Dodgers, the opposite happens, right? So it's a unique set of challenges. You've got 70s sort of corporate culture, 80s, 90s software stack, incredibly dynamic selling and buying environment, and then a little bit of a push and shove when it comes to how do we manage our clients, the interests of our clients and the interests of consumers. So the Ticketmaster platform is, like I said, it's the world's largest seller of tickets. We get about 40 million visits across desktop and mobile a month. About 25% of that is actually driven through search, in no small part due to the efforts of this woman right here. But it wasn't always that way. When the merger happened 2-3 years ago, nobody had ever thought about SEO at the company. And we started talking about SEO. What we were told was, wasn't that yesterday's news? Isn't it really all about social now? How many, raise your hand if you've heard that from some middle-ranking person in the company or senior person. It's what? Search, like what? I actually start a lot of my presentations with a Back to the Future slide, because when people come in and say, what's the secret sauce? What are you guys doing that's different? I tell them, search marketing. And they look at me like I'm crazy. We see now, it's an incredibly exciting time where the worlds of social and search are starting to merge a little bit, right? Where the search engines are saying, we're going to look more and more at social signals to understand what we should rank. And the social platforms, I mean, everybody keeps waiting for Facebook to develop a world-class search platform. I'm not sure they need to now, right? Because they can take they can take search data. They can pixel what you're looking for in Google, and then they can serve you an ad through FBX, which is sort of the same thing. It basically identifies intent off-platform and then matches it to interest on-platform. So this is what I was talking about. This is that world of arbitrage, right? Our inventory is not static. Demand and supply are moving all over the place. And I've got the smartest people in the world spending $4.5 billion, or making $4.5 billion a year on my back. The good news is, people are looking for us. People want to go to the Dodgers. They want to go to the Yankees. They want to go see Lady Gaga. It turns out they do a lot of searching before they find us. About half the people that arrive at Ticketmaster, they know exactly where they're going. They type it into the nav, they show up. The other half do a whole bunch of searching and considering. And at first this worried us. We thought, man, if somebody's doing 3.9 searches, I don't know if you can see those numbers, that probably means they're shopping around for better prices. When we put our attribution software up against this, we found the opposite. The more searches somebody does on one of our SKUs, if you will, on an event, the higher the order value when they finally go through and purchase. And again, that sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but the truth is, all that says is people are hyper-engaged with this particular event, right? They want to go see the Black Keys, and they're going to keep looking on different platforms, not just about price, but about availability, section. Whenever you go to a building and you want to see a live event, it's some sort of X and Y axis between how much do you want to spend and how close do you want to get to the stage or to the team. And again, live events, huge volume of queries out there, 95 million searches a day. I've been told by the smart people at Bing and Google that live events is about 2% of global search, and that compares to somewhere in the neighborhood of 1% for television and film. I'd love to validate that, but it's an exciting metric, and it just says, okay, good news they're looking for us, and the challenge ahead is how do we make that happen? So we rolled up our sleeves, and we said that inbound marketing is just the highest value thing you can do. I had a kid come to me the other day. He was my intern 10 years ago, and he just went off to be head of digital marketing at a ticketing company. And he said, if you could do one thing in ticket marketing, what would it be? I said, SEO. I said, what? It was another one of these like, what? You don't think I should do mobile alerts? I'm like, no. Just optimize your platform. Make sure people can find you. Make sure it's just really, really easy to find you. We have delivered an incredible result with just organic search. As we said in the video there, it's over $200 return for every one that we spend. And that's not just in human capital, it's in software as well. But it's about putting that at the top of the stack. My job is basically to tell the stories that we're doing in marketing to the C-suite and make sure they keep funding the things we're doing. I'm right now in the middle of my 2014 strategic priorities. Content marketing is number one. And again, I previewed this with some senior people last week at an offsite. They said, content marketing? What? Isn't that like 3-4 years ago? And I said, I don't care if it was. It's really important now. And it is this merging of sort of social and search. So once we got the religion, we started to share it. And this is just kind of an overly simplified snapshot of how the company is organized. But obviously, search touches all different parts of the stack. It's a very horizontal thing, right? We have a whole data platform. So we have segmentation tools that allow our clients to find appropriate buyers for tickets. There's a search dashboard in there. Premium services. Pati and Sachin, who's sitting here in the front row, are at the lead of a new kind of internal agency, where we basically said we're a technology and a software company, and we have a marketing app, a software that we're going to release, piece of software we're going to release next year. But there's also an execution stack that sits around services. A lot of you guys know, search is one of those things where you could just let the software sort of do its thing. But the reality is you need people looking at those dashboards, making smart decisions day in and day out. Luckily, we've got some of those people. So B2B tools, APIs, web and mobile development. 2013 is the first year that our product group, when they started to think through, let's do this in mobile, let's create a new event detail page. They started calling Pati at the beginning of that product cycle, rather than, somebody said it in one of the keynotes, calling you at the end saying, oh yeah, can you optimize our page? Because we're getting really terrible bounce rates and we're not sure why. We just added keywords to our URLs at our SKU level in the last few months. So that's where we are in our evolution. It makes us pretty excited about where we're going to get to. And then, today we're talking about search, how it touches content, and we're going to see that evolve with email and social as well. So I'll come back at the end. I want to introduce Pati. Pati has been with the company for 3 years. I've been with them 2 years. First time I met her, I was brought into this office, and she was sitting in a chair just like this, and she's very quiet. And I was introduced to her, and they said, this is Pati, she does SEO for us. And I said, oh, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. And I went back to my desk, and I looked at some sales, some metrics. And it basically said that organic search drives 2/3 of our marketing tickets. Organic search drives nearly $1 billion in revenue to the business. I thought, wait a minute, is that the woman that I just met, that quiet, lovely person in the other room? She's our secret weapon, no coaching. Nobody gets to take her. And I'm going to hand it over to Pati to go through some of the tactics that we do at Ticketmaster.
So everybody, I selected this picture to kind of, somebody's always asking you, so what is SEO? And the best one is always describe SEO to your parents. So I chose this picture because it's about saying what's in the secret box, becoming a wizard, but somebody has to program that wizard to answer that question. And this in specific, with a Christmas tree behind it, because you need to be ready how to act a year before what you're going to do next year. And that's kind of what we do at Ticketmaster. So the first thing is, how do you prioritize SEO in a company that has many other priorities and they have never done SEO? They care that the brand is what people search for, and it would always be what they search for. They didn't get it that you actually have to do SEO for your own brand, because somebody else is writing about your brand and taking the rank over you, or even your Facebook or Twitter or any other page talking about you is also on the top results. So the first thing for us was, how do we get in top of the line of many other projects and make sure that we're doing the fundamentals? My previous director before John was saying, how do we get the embarrassing projects out of the way? Because it was embarrassing to be one of the top companies and not even have an optimized SEO URL. With everybody in our competition was doing it. So that was the first thing. How do we get on top of the line to build a basic and embarrassing project? Yeah. The key was forecasting. And it's kind of always, how do I forecast things that I don't really know? And this is where you go back onto your challenge is to build a development process, and your goal is to develop an SEO roadmap. And the key thing is to do case studies that you could actually find in the industry. So networking with others is really essential, because you're taking their testimonial and bringing them in to build your case study and build a business case. And this is through networking, yes, understanding when somebody else is doing better and understanding their percentage. You could take that in-house and forecast from that. But the key thing is to do it through your web analytics. Understanding really your numbers and understanding how you're tracking is essential. essential to build the business case. Because a lot of times what we do is that we go in and we implement all these great projects, but we don't know how they act. And so when somebody's asking us, so how did your blog do? It did well. How's it converting? It did well. And that's what happens a lot. And the second thing is implementing tools other than tracking that actually help you measure. And this is ranking or just brand awareness. So the key thing is, how do I collect all this data and make it into a forecasting? And for us, we have 3 methods. First one is actually a calculator that I found a few years ago from Conductor. And I'm so glad they actually are building this into the tool, because I'm still using the Excel file. This calculator was taking actually search volume data, plugging in your conversion data and translating that to what potentially your project could contribute. Our second is actually taking a case study through your traffic. A lot of times we are not optimizing at a keyword level, we're optimizing at a template level. So we're making a change to a whole page, and that page is going to affect millions of other pages on the site. So understanding your page performance, the value of a page. Yes, you might only be changing the title of the page, but that's going to translate to the whole template, especially if you're working in larger sites. And the last one is using your PPC data to actually test. This is essential, especially when you're testing like title tags. Use the leverage that you have in PPC to see what keyword combinations are best. And that's your best way of doing A/B testing before you go and you restructure thousands of pages. So those are the key ways to do a business case. Business case in numbers, revenue. Revenue is what's going to actually speak to your executives. They don't really care about, to the point that actually many times they don't even care about the traffic you get. They care about the revenue impacts, the number of tickets I'm going to sell. At Ticketmaster, we actually have metrics meetings every month. And I do put an asterisk of how much SEO traffic is coming in, but it's actually our key metric is tickets. How many tickets are we selling? So making sure that you're speaking to their language. They care about the revenue, talk to them in that way. Learn how to translate your own marketing metrics to executive metrics. So the key thing is to build a business case in a scientific approach. Use data that you have available, and if you don't, that's your first priority, to make sure that you're collecting that. And so the next thing that when I first came to Ticketmaster, 2 companies merged. Live Nation actually had good SEO, but it was smaller. They had to really rely on that. Ticketmaster, no really good SEO. They had a strong platform. They had a bigger problem, which was for them bot traffic. They had to learn how to attack bot traffic and really understand what traffic was coming from search engines. So for me, that was like having a Google bot doing window shopping, because all these people were linking to the site, and as soon as an artist goes on sale, fans start linking to them. So Google bot was just looking at all these links coming to the site, but they were window shopping because they couldn't get to the content. So, and this is probably something that you see in the site when you first come to an artist page and you start seeing a little window loading. It's because our Ajax platform is loading. Great, new technology is fast loading. You could get a lot of implemented. But for a while, that was a difficulty for SEO, especially because it's not crawlable content. How do you get behind it? So for me, it was like, how do I promote this project? I have a business case, but I need a strategy that I could use that same technology was there without having to reinvent the wheel, especially if we're still running our platforms with an old system. How am I going to dare and propose a project to restructure the whole site, the whole database, to let search engines crawl? And this was one of my first projects, so I had not gained any friendship, no networking. This was my tester. Finally, I found the Google Ajax proposal. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with that. They've been pushing it around, promoting it. And I got connected with a Googler, and I told him, I actually want to do rich snippets, but I got a bigger problem. You can't crawl my site. So how do I do that? And I gave them my strategy, and I gave them, I'm doing this, and I want to do this. And guess what was their first reaction? Nobody else has done this. And I'm pushing this project. So I'm gonna put my head in the wheel, and if it doesn't work, it was nice owning you. So did it. The project took us 3 months. The engineers were actually excited because this was out of the box thinking for them. We were not doing the traditional projects. But at the same time, every time we went to QA and they said, do you actually know how this should work? I was like, yeah, I do. Not knowing. But I knew I had a trust in it because I knew the logic. I was doing the best practices and I knew it was going to work. So finally, it happened. In April of 2011, we implemented Google Ajax. And all of a sudden, the developers are sending me log files of how fast, how much crawling we were getting. And it was like, by the way, we have to add another server box just to support the search engines. They're going insane, just crawling anything on the site. And for me, it was like, that's normal. That's what we were supposed to do. I was like, yeah, but we're not used to that. So this is something that eventually, then typically executives don't like receiving technical reports. We started sending the Google Webmasters indexing rate, how often they were crawling us. Many times they say, oh, this graph looks pretty cool. In the bottom, they will ask me, tell me exactly what this means. I did that. So that was the first project, getting ourselves crawl. But my goal target was not to just get ourselves crawl, was to actually implement rich snippets. So I did the Google Ajax projects. Nobody had done it the way we did it. And then the second thing is Google just released schema.org. And I went to them and I told them, okay, I'm going to start tagging. How do I do this? Do I do it by nesting? Do I do it by personality? And guess again what Google tells me. Nobody else has done it before. You're the first one. Now I'm like, okay, I did this once. I'm going to do it again. So I start working through the specs, and I implement them on the site. And finally, I'm starting to get back and forth feedback from development. And they start asking me, so how do we test this works? And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. So I keep sending Google files, examples, and all that stuff. And so I finally tell them, you guys know, it would be a good idea to get a rich snippet tester. They go silent for a while, and within a month or so, they start, you probably guys seen it, if you started implementing rich snippets, they actually came up with a tool that you put your page and it would tell you feedback. And I told them, pretty good, that's good, we could actually get something. But the problem is that my code is still on a staging server. You don't have access to it, so there's not a lot of value on the tool itself. They went silent again. A couple months later, they actually gave us a box where we could page the code. Pretty excited about that. So once again, my goal was to get rich snippets. I got out of that, but I had to develop a roadmap, a process to actually get to that. I started with the Google Ajax proposal, and eventually got to the rich snippets. But I had another little bubble in the middle that was causing me a lot of problems. Since Live Nation and Ticketmaster merged, they had to choose one platform. This means that we were going to have two separate sites, two different logos, but the same code. What is that problem? Duplicate content across two domains with multiple pages. So the biggest problem was here is like, I need to apply canonical tagging across the site. And just translating what canonical tag means to executives was another road trip. At this point, I would say that everybody in the company knows what's canonical tagging. Because every time any new site wants, any new site, I mean by sister sites, because we own other ticketing sites, want to create a page, we always have to discuss canonical tagging. We're all going to go after the same keyword, but we need to make sure we have a strategy how not to understack each other. So that's eventually our roadmap. Successfully out of that, we incremented traffic by 54% year over year for 2011 for 2013. That was the biggest win. The biggest success I got from that is that I got executives to scratch their head and say, whoa, this is actually working. And I got John to be here, which is a bigger success because now he's telling the story. It's not just me, I knew it, but it's much more credible when he's telling it. The second thing I got, like I said, executives to buy in. That's a little bit hard. And those that have done it, give yourself a pat in the back. But the biggest one that I want to express here is I got the trust from the search engines. I wanted to test things that nobody else had done. And I got to do it twice with them. So So at this point, I started to get in a relationship with them. So next time they want to do something, I'm somebody that they could trust and build on. So, but the biggest one here is that I got rich snippets done, and that's for search results. If you could see, and you're actively doing, schema is going beyond search results, beyond branch snippets. Schema is just a way for Google search engines to understand exactly what you have in your site. They're using it beyond what you see and how they catalog your information. If you have a mobile device and you're in Google now, you could actually have a whole personalized experience from your mobile device. And what they're doing that affects me directly is that they're recommending events that they crawl through the search engine. They're telling you, oh, look at this event. You're in this location, you should go to these other events. But my intention was not getting to a mobile experience, but I started through a search project, and that's how it's growing. And now I'm working closer with Google to even get email tagging. It's not exactly an a traditional SEO project, but it is affecting a search experience because when you start searching for your email, or not even your email, many of the times if you ever try it, you're using your Gmail and you type the word flight, you actually start seeing your flight results first and then the other information. Or the other thing that I discovered, if you bought things, I was searching for, actually, what is the word bought? Not going to give you the history why I was searching for that. But I ended up getting like 5 different email snippets of things that I bought from Amazon in the last 3 weeks. So it was like, now I recognize that I need to stop buying from Amazon. But that's the kind of way that Google's making sure that your whole life experience and where you search is being patterned to what information they find. And the easiest way for us to do that is by making sure that we're following their standards, applying new initiatives, in this case, schema, to make sure that we're not just focused on search, but we're going beyond the phone, beyond the search results to engage with the user. So, John from NBC kind of covered this, and this is strategy that I was glad that he went through in detail. To build a system, you have to have scale. And he please, everything he recommended, preaching to the choir. Do it, please. For me, I'm going to summarize it in a 5-step process. Start with design. Design thinking outside the box. Make sure that you're engaging, but your engagement thinking out of the box is not changing a title tag. What is the title tag going to do beyond that? Get out of the keyword focused mind thinking and think about content in global. How is that affecting the whole brand? Get diagnostics. This is where your numbers come into sense. Get numbers that speak to your company, or to your executives. They like revenue numbers. My development team likes crawl numbers. Make sure that you have a balance between all your different departments that you're working with. Start with the opportunities. Make sure you're prioritizing. If you're doing agile project management, you know that it's about the big epic, but the real work gets done in the stories. And next, get tools. If you're here, you're probably already engaging with Conductor. But look at other tools that your departments could learn and engage and use, and make sure you're sharing them. They're not just yours. It's much easier when other people rely on the tool for information. And last is process. Process and reporting, but most important, process to start doing this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 every month, every week, every year. So the biggest wins that we got to do from having share different numbers in SEO success, and this already everybody kind of questioning is like, yes, for every dollar we spend, we have collected that we're getting $243 back. And that's a success that I would say I am proud of that, but I want more. We're for the 300. That's aggressive, but I'm proud of that because Ticketmaster is a company that it has a strong brand, and I do SEO on different brands, Lady Gaga, the Dodgers, all these other brands, and everybody is competing on them, not just the brokers. A fan is also writing on the content and actually my competitor. So instead of making competitors, I need to make friends and making sure that link building is. a process to do that. We don't call it link building anymore, it's more relationship building. And who are the best target to do that relationship building than my clients? The people that already own the brand. So not in a way to say this is a directly link building, not link building. The strategy is engaging our clients to do a better SEO performance themselves. And this is where we're taking over the shelf space and search results. Because when they show up first, and I show up, or I show up and they show up, we're taking over the shelf space. We all have the same goal, to sell more tickets. Or to engage the fan to keep looking and coming back when the tickets are on sale. So in Ticketmaster, we're introducing this new program for our clients. We have a program that's at scale. We have the experience of live entertainment. Many of our clients do work with other agencies, but they can't really say to the court that they have the experience in live entertainment like we do. And we have search engine connections. We've been successful to do connections with the top search engines, and they're engaged to work with us. So we're packaging all these different benefits that we have into 2 services that we're offering our clients. One is Premier Management Service. And this starts with an auditing service, just to get them introduced to learn SEO. We do go into their sites and audit them technically, but the goal here is not to tell them this is a list of photo errors you need to fix. It's more to make them aware and educate them about the value of SEO. And when the biggest goal of value of SEO for them is to create quality content, because they already probably have the brand, they just don't know how to use it, which is the same thing that happened for Ticketmaster. We had the brand, but we relied too much on that. And the second one, which is an engaging, because it's not just about, okay, do this, and do it once, you know what it means, but it's to continue growing with their SEO strategy through our partnership with Conductor. So we've been introducing to our clients that after they get some education, they understand what's going on with their site, it's a cycle that you continue to process. And the best way for them to do it is to have tools. And Searchlight for us is the tool we use, so we're making the same recommendation for them to use a tool that will continue growing.
So basically what the business did was it took a Center for Excellence in search and said, this is fantastic, the numbers are moving, let's take this on the road. So the search team and I, we spent half of our time talking on different stages to, go fly and talk to Major League Soccer, go talk to the NBA, go talk to Feld Entertainment, go talk to the concert division. And the results have been phenomenal, where we've created this platform within our business that provides direct results, and now we're sharing it with our clients through an enterprise system of software and services. And I'd say there's no greater sort of milestone you guys can reach in your career if you happen to have a business that's sort of B2B or service oriented like that. Then when your CEO comes to you and says, what you guys are doing is literally like magic, I need you to go do it now with the NFL. And what's really awesome about it is a lot of those guys aren't there yet, right? They're not progressive. Pati was talking about the opportunities that you want to pursue. Definitely do the embarrassing ones first. Here's why. The embarrassing one does 2 things if you implement it correctly. One is it tends to drive big numbers, right? Because all of a sudden the crawlers recognize that you're doing things that everybody else has done since 2007. So the numbers move quickly. The other thing is when the numbers move quickly, the people in the C-suite, they turn to you and they go, how did you do that? And then you can be the smart guy in the room who says, oh, look at this article from 2007 when they told us all to do this, and you guys didn't do it, so we're just catching up now. They'll keep coming back to you. It's literally like you're a seer or something, like you're some kind of oracle with magic. It's not magic. Everybody in this, and if it is, it's okay because everybody in this room practices it. That's all we've got for you guys. We appreciate your time. If you have questions about Ticketmaster, Live Nation, and what we do in terms of organic search, got a few minutes? Oh, yes. I've been asked to remind you, or to announce, that we are looking for SEOs. Or rather, Pati is looking for SEOs. And she'll be standing up here afterwards to hand out cards and get your email. And she can tell you about the opportunity. But again, it's a perfect example. The senior-most executives get really excited about what's going on and they start funding things. We like when senior executives fund projects, don't we? That means we're doing our jobs right. That means we get to have a sustainable and long career. So thank you for that, Sachin.
So I have a question, like when you are promoting premium managed services, basically doing SEO for your clients, right? How you manage the cannibalization or potential cannibalization between your in-house, your own site versus your client brand?
I'll answer that in one way, and then Patty could probably give some details. So one of the things that we noticed a couple years ago is as SEO as a channel grew, some of the direct traffic from our clients as a share was shrinking, and we thought that that's pretty much substitution. At the end of the day, I don't care who's getting the clicks as long as the clicks end up in our shopping cart, right? So if it's us or our client, if we can make them better at search, typically they'll want to drive visits to their platform where in addition to tickets they're selling t-shirts, VIP experiences, season tickets. They may have streaming content, premium streaming content. So, if they're optimizing for that, they sell that. If they're optimizing for tickets, eventually the traffic will find its way to Ticketmaster. So, yeah, I suppose I could sweat that, but I don't know if you feel differently. I kind of feel like all it does is it makes the pie larger.
Cannibalization does happen but to a small set of keywords. You have much more leverage of helping them optimize for things that you can't even rank. So in a case, for example, not to say I'm doing it with them, say the Dodgers, bobbleheads. I can't really rank for that because I don't have that content with me. But if they are, I know that eventually bobbleheads take Dodgers means that they need to buy a ticket to get one, and eventually they're going to come to Ticketmaster to do that.
It really is keyword specific. We find generally the leagues outrank us because they have sort of a content authority that we don't have. But if somebody does, so if they do NFL, you're going to see NFL.com. If you do NFL tickets, we tend to do much better. Anyone else? Yes, Seth.
Hey guys, great job. Quick question: what can you share with us about the math of the ROI? So, numerator, denominator. Like, what do you do? You include brand traffic, non-brand traffic? And from a cost perspective, what kind of allocations do you do?
So the metric there, the ROI is all organic search, brand, non-brand. This really derived from an attribution analysis we did, where we were a last-click shop, like a lot of people, until about 1.5 years ago. And then we started we used Adobe Insight, and we started to look at all the different consumer touches. And search just it sucked up all the oxygen in the room, right? Now, interestingly, because a bunch of people come directly to our platform and they do a search and come to the platform, we were seeing a lot of that in last click anyway. But when we really had visibility throughout the funnel, all of those different points where somebody opens an email, does a search, hears about it from a friend, does another search, clicks on a paid search, buys the ticket. All of that and this is a linear distribution model, or attribution model, but in aggregate, it basically says that every dollar we invest into search, and it's Patti and her team, which is Patti.
It's her team, right?
But she's hiring. Did we mention that? And a software. There's this company in New York called Conductor, and we use this incredible platform that they have. Is that what you were asking? No, but it's. This is why you get this incredible return. It's not expensive to do. It is, dollar for dollar. So everybody looks at this, and in the executive rank, it's maybe we should just stop doing the other stuff. We've had that a lot because most of the rest of our marketing channels pencil out around like $7, $8 ROI, and that's okay. I think we all acknowledge, as religious as we all probably are about organic search, you need all those other touch points for a variety of reasons, right? It helps you engage, it helps you control message, etc. But yeah, it's just a straightforward formula. All right. Well, thanks for your time, and appreciate it.